Hello, this is Jo from Maths Tutor Me. Today we're doing ratio and rates and we are doing some problem solving. So far in this unit of work, the questions have been very methodical but not very practical. So today we are trying to do a few more practical questions just to show you how some of these ratios can actually be used out there in the big wide world. That's just for some of the questions though. In question 1, we're actually going to do some equations with our ratios. So let's start with those. In question 1, we want to find the value for x in this equation here. Now, in the previous lesson, we were trying to find things that we could multiply or divide by to find the missing number. But the problem with this equation is that I can't find a nice whole number that will get me from 12 to 9 dividing. It would have to go to a decimal or a fraction to be able to get that. So that's a little bit too messy for my liking. So what we can do is we can use some equation skills to help us with these kinds of questions. I'm going to show you a skill today that's called cross multiplying. When you have an equation that has a fraction on one side and a fraction on the other side, what you can do is multiply top on one side with the bottom on the other, and that will be equal to the top on the other side times by the bottom on the other. Okay, so I'm going to multiply the x with the 12, because I like to have my pronumeral first, so that's 12x, and then that's equal to 8 times 9, which is 72. Okay, so that's why we call it cross multiplying, because it makes a cross. So that becomes a nice one-step equation there. I'm trying to find out what x is equal to, which means I need to divide by 12 to get that 12 away from there. And if I grab the calculator here and I type in 72 divided by 12, I get 6. So x is equal to 6. Okay, that's my first one done. Let's have a look at B. Let's do the same technique. Let's do cross multiplying. So I always like to do the x first. So I'm going to times x times 2. So that's 2x. And then the other diagonal, 7 times 3 is equal to 21. Okay, now to get the x by itself, I will divide by 2. This time I'm going to do it as a fraction instead of a divide sign. Okay, that will give me x is equal to 21 divided by 2 is 10.5 or 10.5. Either way would be fine to write. Okay, so here we have question 2, 3 and 4 are my more practical questions. So the ratio of milk to flour in a recipe is 5 to 2. If 8 cups of flour are used, how much milk is required? So I'm going to use the ratios here. I'm going to use some equivalent ratios to find my answer. So the ratio of milk to flour is 5 to 2. Let's write that as a fraction. 5 to 2, milk to flour. Okay, we want to find the equivalent ratio. If I have 8 cups of flour, now was flour the top or the bottom? So remember it was milk to flour, so flour is the bottom. I have 8 cups, so it's going to go on the bottom. How much milk is required? That's going to be this missing number. Why don't we call that M since it's milk? So let's use we could use cross multiplying. Or this one is actually an easier type that we could use from last lesson. So we could look at this and go, well, to get from here, from the 2 to the 8, I would need to multiply by 4. Okay, which means if I multiply the 5 by 4, I'll find out that M is equal to 20. I'll write 5 times 4 first. Okay, so that's equal to 20, and they were cups. 20 cups of milk. Maybe I should write that too. Of milk. I need 20 cups of milk for 8 cups of flour. Okay, let's try question 3. A recipe uses the ratio of 1 cup of rice to 3 cups of water. So it's 1 cup of rice, 3 cups of water. How much rice can be cooked in 7 cups of water? And it says to 1 decimal place. Okay, so we have 7 cups of water. Remember, this one was rice and this one was water. So the 7 cups of water goes on the bottom there. I'm trying to find this missing number. It says how much rice. Let's call it R for rice. Now, it's not a nice, easy thing to multiply here. 3 doesn't multiply by anything to give 7. Not a nice number anyway. So let's use our cross multiplying technique. So R times 3 is 3R is equal to 1 times 7 is 7. Okay, to get the R by itself, divide by 3. Gets rid of that. And 7 divided by 3, or 7 over 3, means the same thing. It says to 1 decimal place would be 2.3 cups of rice. Okay, so you can see I've got a few cooking questions here, but next question 4, we have one about two-stroke petrol, two-stroke fuel. So two-stroke fuel is made by mixing petrol and oil in the ratio 25 to 1. So 25 would be the petrol, 1 would be the oil. How many litres of petrol needed to be added to 400 mils of oil? So let's write down our problem here. Our original ratio is 25 to 1. Okay. Now we have 400 mils of oil. Now remember, the 1 was the oil, so that's going to mean that our 400 needs to be on the bottom, just like our 1 here. So I'm trying to find how many litres of petrol. So P for petrol. So to solve that, let's cross multiply. P times 1, 1P, or just P, and 25 times 400. Okay, that's a big number. 25 times 400 equals. Okay, that's a pretty big number. Now, it's not 10,000 litres. This number will have the same units as what I put in my equation here. It will be in mils. So because I used 400 mils, this will be in millilitres. So to make that into litres, my question asks for how many litres of petrol. There is 1,000 millilitres to a litre. So if I need to divide that by 1,000. Okay, and if I divide by 1,000, that takes off 3 zeros, I get 10 litres. So I need 10 litres of petrol. Okay. Alright, hopefully you're following, because now it's time for you to have a try. So there's just 3 little questions that can't be too scary. Pause the video, give them a go, and restart to see the answers. The first one is just to solve the equation correct to 1 decimal place. That's just practicing cross multiplying. So x times 7 is 7x is equal to 4 times 5 is 20. Now we want to get the x by itself, so we need to divide by 7 to get rid of that. X is on its own, and 20 divided by 7 is our answer. Now it says 1 decimal place, so we have 2 point. Now I have an 8.5 here, so I need to round that up to become 2.9. Okay, in question 2, the ratio of adults to kids at the pool is 4 to 9. Find the number of kids at the pool if there are 24 adults. Okay, let's write our 4 to 9 as a fraction, 4 to 9. Okay, that's going to be equal to We want to find the number of kids at the pool. Okay, this is the number of adults. Now, adults to kids was 4 to 9. The 4 is the adults. So if there are 24 adults, that needs to go on the top because the 4 was also adults was on the top. Okay, we're trying to find the number of kids. That's going to be on the bottom. Let's call it K for kids. Let's cross multiply. 4 times K is 4K. And 9 times 24 is 216. We want K by itself, so let's divide by 4. 216 divided by 4 is 54 kids. So 24 adults and 54 kids were at the pool. Question 3. The best smoothies have ice cream and milk in the ratio 3 to 7. So that means the 3 is the ice cream and the milk is the 7. If I have 200 grams of ice cream, how much milk should I use? So let's write it as a fraction. 3 over 7 was my original ratio. Now I have 200 grams of ice cream. Ice cream was the top number, so that's going to go on the top. And on the bottom is how much milk. M for milk. So let's cross multiply. 3 times M is 3M. And 7 times 200. 2 times 7 is 14, and the 2 zeros are going to sit after like that. And then I just want to get the M by itself, so let's divide by 3. M is equal to 1400 divided by 3. Okay, it doesn't say where to round it here. Let's just stick to our 1 decimal place that we've been doing. 466 point, because it's a 6 and a 6 there, we would have to round that to be a 7. Now, the units of this would be grams because we put grams in for our ice cream. So we need 466.7 grams of milk. Perhaps you wouldn't be able to measure your milk quite that accurately, but at least we can calculate it that accurately. Okay, so that's it for today. Practice that, and I will see you next time for some more ratios and rates. Bye.